The Tom Sawyer Show on HPC TV 25 is brought to you by Jefferson Pub Grill. Meet me at the levee for fabulous food and drinks at Jefferson Pub Grill. Come check out their great nightly specials and limited time offer menu. Jefferson Pub Grill.
Hello again, everybody, and welcome to the Tom Sawyer Show here on HPC TV 25. I'm Justin Barrientos. Thank you for joining us. And Coach, thank you for joining us here this week again. Tough game for homecoming against St. Cloud State. I guess the first question basically is, what did you have anything to say to your team afterwards? What was your message to the team?
Well, my message is that we're 4-0, and I really believe that. I really think that, and I'm not taking anything away from St. Cloud or Moorhead because they played well when they had to and win the game at the end, but I think that we really controlled the outcomes in all 4 games. And so the 2 wins that we have in the middle, we played very well and finished the football game. So after the game, I just told the guys, we've been in control of all 4, and we'll be in control, I really believe, in the next one as well. So it's, you start looking at, what is it that we're contributing to the game. We just need to have a 4-quarter effort and make less mistakes and really clean up the game. If the game's clean, we got plenty of ability. We just got to get our kids to know and understand what we're doing a little bit better, and in some cases a lot better. And then we will, finish the game we'd like to. Okay,
well, let's take a look at some of the highlights of the homecoming game against St. Cloud State. And things started out pretty well for you. I don't think you could have asked for a better start to the game.
Yeah, 75-yard touchdown to get started with Paul Preston's pretty fun. And he's #1 in the league right now in all-purpose yards. He's doing a great job in the return game. But what I like about it is the guys are out front, receivers are out blocking, tight ends running down the field, big old lineman guys are hustling down there. Paul puts a little move at the end, and then he's escorted into the end zone. And down here with the student section, homecoming, I mean, that's awesome. Then you start looking at some of the plays we make on defense. You got to tackle. I think we had over a dozen missed tackles, and a lot of them in that first half, and you just got to tackle with your feet. Jack Nelson, again, threw for over 300 again. He leads the league in passing. And Alan May, there was about an 8-yard dive into the end zone. He took left up from like the 4-yard line and landed about 3 yards deep. Here's a good defensive pursuit. Guys fit in the football, but it was after a botched snap.
Right.
I mean, usually we end up getting the football back, and they end up with a touchdown at the end of it. Yeah. So that just killed us. But again, here's guys back in the end zone making plays and really working hard and doing a nice job. But again, here we got tackle. We missed the tackle on the quarterback. He walks in. So watching these highlights are more for them than us. But that's what happened later in the game. Again, Jack Nelson down the sideline. Alan May, I don't know how he caught that thing. Right. He did a great job. Right now he's playing great, and along with Cameron Johnson, those 2 guys are playing fantastic. So it's fun to see. Another play down the sideline. That's Andrew Spencer. He missed the first half, and you can see the kind of athlete that he is, and he's with us here in the show today. The ball popped out at the very end, but he was down, had a great return. Unfortunately for the Warriors, we got nothing out of it.
Right.
And that's killing us. We had 2 turnovers in the red zone. We didn't get points out of either one. Paul Preston, again, doing his thing. He's healthy, he's fast, he's physical, doing all the things. And we got to get another running back up and running with him, but he had a tremendous day for homecoming. Long pass here. The kid just jumped over the top of us, and it was a big 3rd down play, and again, missed tackles. But the Warriors just got to do a better job in the secondary with balls that are just lobbed up in the end zone. We're just 1 step away, 1 foot away, 1 touch away, and all that kind of stuff. And here's that botched field goal that they had. So instead of a tie game, they get a 1st down and end up pushing it in, and all of a sudden we're down. It's like, what happened here?
Right.
And all of a sudden we're down 4. So that was a big part of the football game. And here again, tackling. We just didn't get a tackle. Guys standing there. We've got to get our football team revved up and cranked up to play at a faster pace. Another St. Cloud highlight you're looking at here is a long run by the quarterback. St. Cloud stepped into his own. We blitzed, got caught on the backside of a blitz. 1 linebacker went the wrong way. And again, 1 person does it wrong, and they're out the gate. So
now you either led or you were tied until I think 6:40 left in the 4th quarter. When the score was tied at that point, did you feel like you guys still had a chance to win the game?
Oh, absolutely. Even when we were down, I felt like we still had it. That was, by the way, a great catch by Cam there. But yeah, I thought we were in it the whole time. We really should have, scored on that drive, get the onside kick, go score again. Why not? I mean, why not us? And find a way to finish, and we just couldn't get it done. So as you saw at the very end, we're trying to, we're pressuring there in the last minute and a half, but I never think we're out of it. I mean, we had, 2 touchdowns. That can happen in about 18 seconds. So You know, it took the air out of us, but we weren't out of it. One big play, I mean, we've scored a lot of times. Well, first play of the game, 75-yard touchdown. 12 seconds later, we're in the scoreboard. Why not do it again? So I'm always the optimist trying to find a way to get that done, and we just got to get enough people believing the same thing, and we'll go do it.
You know, we've talked about this the last couple of weeks with more people targeting Josh Mikas this season. You had Cameron Johnson step up. You've had Alan May have incredible, almost you know, career games every week now. What is that like to have that in your receiving core, that you can kind of rely on everybody that's out there?
Well, it's really a luxury, and it's really hard for defenses to defend everybody. And actually, Alan and Cam are playing exceptional. Josh isn't playing as well as he has. I think there's some pressure there with all the pro stuff. I think it's eating at him a little bit. He's just got to go play like a little kid in the street. Kind of pretend he's back in St. Charles, Illinois, having some fun with his buddies. But, you know, sometimes he's getting bracketed and those kind of things, and that's where you see the inside touchdowns. Cam's had a couple, and Allen's had a couple, and we run the football at it. If they're going to double team one, we got to spread the football around, and that we've always been that way. But we're leaving opportunities on the field. You know, we're averaging just over 20 points a game. That's not our Warrior offense. We get in red zone, we got to score touchdowns. You know, we're kicking field goals. We had 12 field goal attempts.
Right.
You take half of those out; those are 6 touchdowns. 6 touchdowns over 4 games. All of a sudden, we're scoring 30 a game.
Yeah.
That's what we got to get to, or we'll struggle.
What was it that St. Cloud found in the Warrior defense in that second half that they were able to kind of exploit, and things that you have to fix this week?
Yeah, well, we fixed it. We've already got that done. But the biggest thing was just assignment errors. It really was. What happened is guys got frustrated. They tried to do too much. One thing about assignment football when you're playing option football is every man has a job. And when one guy thinks that he has to go do something special, you're out of alignment. One guy tries to do something extra, you're out of alignment. And that's really what it was. I met with our defensive staff. We went play by play, adjustment by adjustment, and it really comes down to doing things right. So 2 parts to that. 1, our staff has to make sure we have not such a big package that they can understand it, and 2, they have to go do it. And that's what we're waiting on. So this week we hope to clean that up, have less in the package, but be really good at it. Like Woody Hayes said, I'm going to do 3 things. I'm going to tell you what we're going to do, and then we're going to beat you doing it. And that's kind of the mentality we have to have.
Was part of that run defense then?
It was. Well, it was all of it, but mostly run defense. I mean, you know, they threw up a couple balls that we just didn't judge in the air very well, but they ran the football at us and had 200 yards of offense in that 4th quarter. Now, one of them was a quarterback draw. Yeah. Kid went the wrong way. We got pinned behind the line, or we did a tackle for loss. He goes the wrong way, kid goes for 50 yards or 60 yards. There's half of it right there. So trying to stay away from big plays. We have a lot of good playmakers, but we got to get them in the right position to do it.
All right, and then quickly, the next 2 games are on the road. How do you feel about that? Does that help? Does that hurt that you're playing the next 2 on the road?
I'll be honest with you, I don't care where we play. I wanted our football team to grow, and I want our football team to continue to get better. And I don't care if we play Thursday night, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, doesn't matter, or where. I'd play these guys on the street. It really doesn't matter to me. I think our kids are ready again. They should be hungry. To get on a bus at 6 o'clock in the morning, go play a game at noon at Seafoam Stadium, don't care. Let's go play. Let's go play our football. Worry only about us, and go see what happens.
All right. Well, we're going to take a break here on the Tom Sawyer Show. When we come back, we'll start talking to some of the players. Cameron Johnson, one of the wide receivers that we had just talked about, will be our guest coming up next here on TV 25.
The Tom Sawyer Show on HPC TV 25 is brought to you by Jefferson Pub Grill. Meet me at the levee for fabulous food and drinks at Jefferson Pub Grill. Come check out their great nightly specials and limited time offer menu. Jefferson Pub Grill.
Join HPC Sports' Extra Point one-camera coverage of high school football and soccer throughout the fall, presented by Lewiston Auto. In addition to our Football Night Crew broadcasts, Extra Point will bring you 8 games from the gridiron and 9 games from the pitch. For the full slate of games, simply visit hbci.com/sports to find out when your team will be on the field. That's Extra Point coverage of HPC Sports presented by Lewiston Auto, all fall, only on TV 25.
Look at the brows on that. That's a hog, man.
Get an inside look at the Winona State football program with the Tom Sawyer Show on TV 25. brought to you by Jefferson Pub Grill. Host Justin Barrientos sits down with the Warriors head coach each week to break down last week's game and to look ahead at WSU's next opponent, as well as chat with Winona State players. Tune in at 4:30 p.m. on Thursdays, 6 p.m. on Fridays, 7 a.m. on Saturdays, and before every Warrior home game for the Tom Sawyer Show on HPC, brought to you by Jefferson Pub Grill. HPC Sports is your exclusive home for Winona State soccer and volleyball for the 2015 season. Whether you prefer spikes and sets on the court or goals and saves on the pitch, if it's happening with Warriors volleyball or soccer, HPC has you covered. For the full broadcast schedule, simply visit hbci.com/sports to find out when each match will be featured live. That's Winona State soccer and volleyball all season long, only on TV 25.
And welcome back to the Tom Sawyer Show here on HPC TV 25. And Coach, time to talk a little offense with one of your wide receivers.
Yeah, we got Cameron Johnson here. Cam, thanks for being here.
No problem. Happy to be here.
And I tell you what, as a junior, he's tearing it up right now, having a great year, making some real big catches in some important times of the football games. And the first question I have for you, Cam, is, you know, the receiving core right now, it's highlighted by you and Alan May and Josh Mikas and a couple other guys. But what's it like being on a core like that when you got Jack slinging it around?
I mean, having guys like Josh and Alan, I've been playing behind those guys for a couple years now, and a few years actually, and I've just been learning from them, and just having those guys out there and just knowing there's guys out there I can trust, it makes it a little easier, and it's helped me learn the game and see the game a lot slower. As I was younger, it was really fast, and I was like struggling to see coverages and how players are reacting, but now it's really helping me. Those guys help me every day.
You know, the second one I have is, you know, we talk about trying to get more study, more film, more involved in the football part of things here. What have you tried to do to try to really enhance your play? Really
become a student of the game. I mean, just watching film, watching the professionals, see how they do it, how they get off coverages.
Packers.
Yeah, I guess we could say the Packers, I guess. I would say Des Bryant, because that was a catch, first off.
That
was a catch.
Here we go.
It was. But yeah, I watched those guys, and I watch film. I watch practice over and over. I watch it multiple times before we even go over it in meetings at 7 a.m. But I watch film on the corners and their linebackers and how they react to certain plays, and just making sure I know what I'm going to get from them each week.
Okay. I got to ask you about your high school career, because you're a great football player in high school and a great football player now, but you were a great basketball player as well. 5th leading scorer all time at your high school. Tell us a little bit about your basketball career.
I mean, growing up, I thought I was going to be a basketball player. I really did. My dad played basketball in college, and basketball's been running through my family. And just grew up since, I can't even remember, my dad has a picture of me holding me up. I got a goal, I'm like 6 months old, and I'm playing basketball. So I just thought that was my career right there. But then played basketball in high school, and I went out for football my junior year because I wasn't getting the looks in basketball that I wanted. You know, I played football in middle school, and when I was a little Pop Warner football, I loved it. And I just thought I should give it another chance, and it ended up being the best thing that ever happened to me.
Does your skill on the basketball court kind of correlate to being a wide receiver, like going up for jump balls?
Yeah, jump balls, just like getting a rebound. That's all it was. It came naturally to me.
You know, the other thing as we talk about is, you know, getting in the red zone, something we haven't scored as often as we'd like. What do the Warriors have to do this week against Concordia or the rest of the way out to really make sure that we're thinking touchdown once we get the red zone instead of kicking it?
Just got to stay hungry. We're hungry. This team is hungry. This is the hungriest team I've ever played on. But when we get in the red zone, we just got to know we can't be stopped. Yeah, getting field goal, we get points up there, but touchdowns are a lot better.
You know, the other part of it is the blocking piece of it. And then as I mentioned on Paul's highlight, you know, we get a screen out there and you guys are out there running around. Why is that so important that you learn that part of the craft as well?
Blocking, I mean, just because it's not all about you. You know, you playing wide receiver, you only get so many chances to really have the ball in your hands, but you got to make plays for your teammates and sell out for the rest of the team.
Okay.
Do you take a lot of pride in the blocking, because that's some part that you know, a lot of fans maybe don't watch as much, or you know, you're expected to catch the ball as a wide receiver, but maybe you're not expected to get a block that's going to spring somebody. Do you take a lot of pride in that?
Yeah, I definitely do. Blocking, that's, if you can't block, you can't be on the field, because they're going to try and run to your side. You can't just let your guy go. You got to do your job. Coach always says do your 1/11th, and that's my 1/11th on certain plays.
You know, going into the homecoming week and walking down the stadium to the stadium along, you know, good old Main Street there with the tailgaters, and walking into the stadium with that crowd. What is that like for you and the rest of our players?
it's an unbelievable experience. I mean, if you can't get excited for that, then I don't know. There might be something wrong with you. If you can't get up, you're walking through the crowd, everybody's cheering for you, everything. I mean, there's nothing like it. I've never experienced anything like it.
You know, that student section down there is kind of crazy sometimes, but you know, we go in the end zone. I know you were down there when Paul took that first one in, and you've been in there yourself. Down there with the students screaming on top of you, is that part of the college experience that you were hoping for?
Yeah, it really is. That's why I came here. You know, I came here on a homecoming game actually for my game day visit, and I saw the student section. I saw how packed the stadium was and everything. I was like, yeah, I'm coming here.
Okay. Is there any real way to describe that? I mean, it's a Lambeau leap, I guess, basically. But after Paul Preston scored the touchdown and everybody is cheering, and even before the game started, everybody went out to that student section and got them riled up. Is there any real way to describe what that feels like in the moment?
No, there really isn't. I can't find the words for it. I don't know, everything just feels right at that moment.
The last question I have for you, Cam, is, you know, going to Concordia St. Paul, getting up, having breakfast, get on a bus, go play. 2 hours later, we're on the field. You know, we've had some tough travels, but that's going to be a tough one, you know, playing at noon. What do we have to do to prep for that and get ready to go?
Get up a little earlier. We have lifting at 6 in the morning, so I mean, you got to get your body right, get your mind used to getting up that early, and just have a mentality that this is what we're going to be doing on Saturday. You just got to be ready.
Okay.
All right, I think that'll do it for this segment. Cameron, thank you for joining us on the Tom Sawyer Show.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we'll talk a little defense with Anthony Spencer coming up right after this. The Tom Sawyer Show on HPC TV 25 is brought to you by Jefferson Pub Grill. Meet me at the levee for fabulous food and drinks at Jefferson Pub Grill. Come check out their great nightly specials and limited time offer menu. Jefferson Pub Grill. Tune in for the Sports Buzz every Tuesday at 5:30 as a panel of local sports journalists tackle the hottest topics on everything from local high school and collegiate sports to regional discussion about the Twins, Brewers, Vikings, and Packers. With the Power Play Fantasy Football Challenge to the Rant of the Week and NFL Pick'em, the Sports Buzz is fast-paced and sure to entertain. That's new episodes of the Sports Buzz every Tuesday at 5:30 with replays only on HPC TV 25.
We chose HPC because they're a local company. They have a big audience in Winona, which is the geographic group that we're looking for. Mel is very easy to work with. She's genuinely concerned about how our money is being spent, and she does everything she can to make sure we get the most for our money. She takes care of us. So whenever there's a problem, which is rarely, I know that I can go to her and she's going to take care of it.
To see how HPC Advertising can help your company, call Melanie at 507-474-5802.
Get an inside look at the Winona State football program with the Tom Sawyer Show on TV 25. Brought to you by Jefferson Pub Grill. Host Justin Barrientos sits down with the Warriors head coach each week to break down last week's game and to look ahead at WSU's next opponent, as well as chat with Winona State players. Tune in at 4:30 p.m. on Thursdays, 6 p.m. on Fridays, 7 a.m. on Saturdays, and before every Warrior home game for the Tom Sawyer Show on HPC. Brought to you by Jefferson Pub Grill. This is HPC Job Finder. Masterson Staffing has immediate openings in Winona, Stockton, and Wabasha for first, second, and third shifts. Positions as sewing and mending techs, machine relief operators, and general production labor available. Pay up to $12.50 an hour. Paid weekly with benefits. Call 507-252-8481 for detail. Email your resume to rochester@mastersonstaffing.com. For a full description, go to jobs.hbci.com.
And welcome back to the Tom Sawyer Show. And Coach Sawyer, clearly I don't know the names of your players. So why don't you introduce us to one of your defensive backs?
Anthony?
Yes, right.
Yeah, no, this is Andrew Spencer. He's a sophomore safety for us and one of the leaders in the league in interceptions already. And had another big one this weekend. So, Andrew, thanks for being here.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
First question I have, besides your name, is the fact that you know, now a full-time player in this year's defense and really the leader of the back four. What responsibilities has that brought to you, and how are you handling it?
A lot of them are new guys or JUCOs or whatever, so I'm kind of the old guy now, but technically still young. But getting them in the right places and make sure they know what they're supposed to do, and you know, just a lot of the little things like effort, preaching to them, and just to keep on pushing through injuries or whatever you got to do. It's just, you know, keep fighting.
You know, last week, you know, you didn't get a chance to play in the first one because you went for an interception in Bemidji and ended up having to sit out of the game. But this week, come in the second half, and in the first series you're in there, you got another pick and almost took that one to the house. What's that like when you see that guy, you know, they're running that little in route and you see it coming and you start breaking on it? What goes through your mind?
Eye discipline, like think I'd have my eyes in the right place. And then again, it goes watching film and then knowing what you're supposed to be and being in the right place at the right time. Then it makes it a lot more easier for you to make plays like that. That's just the easy part. It's where I can be a football player and do the right things once I know what the scheme of our defense is and being in the right spot. So I love it. I mean, that's the best, probably the best thing in the world is to get an interception because I like having the ball in my hand. And playing defense, you don't really see that as much, but when you do get the opportunity, it's definitely one of the greatest.
Yeah, I got one more thing, and we'll jump backward to Justin. But the week before, we're up at Bemidji, and you're diving for a football, and there's such hype right now around about targeting and hitting in the helmet and all those kind of things. And you and the wide receiver from Bemidji, kind of came to an impact right at the ground. What do you have to go through when you get disqualified on a hustle play like that? And I'm not saying it's a good or bad call. I'm not here to judge officials, but for a kid like you that's playing hard, what do you do with that?
That really hurt. Like honestly, like I feel like I let the team down. But I mean, I played within like how I was taught and how I learned to play. I mean, accidental contact, I believe it was, but it really hurt. I felt like I was leaving my teammates out to dry. I mean, we all saw how emotional I got after it, but I had guys like Cam, offensive guys, came up to me and was like, hey, you're more than just being on the field. You got to be a leader off the field and help these guys get in the right spot and all that. So, I mean, we got the win, so that's what matters most, and I was happy for that.
Okay.
I'm going to go back to your high school days as well. You were teammates with Justin Bergeron and Darrell Clark.
Yep.
What is it about your high school and then there were other schools in your area too that sent players to the NSIC. What is it about that kind of area that brought up these big players, and how did you all come to Winona State?
Well, we had a guy before us who actually played here too. He was one of the best guys from our high school. So he came up here, so we were like, oh, let's check it out. So then we did. I mean, I love playing with these guys. We also got a younger one that just committed to us too. So he's playing with us, and we know a lot of the guys from around the conference, like Josh and all those guys. They're all from the same area, so we we heard of these guys. Like I heard of Paul Preston when I was freshman or like younger in high school. I'd watch him on the local channels, and I was like, wow, this guy goes here. So I'm like, maybe this is the place for me. So I came up here for a visit, and I loved it.
We went down and watched them play basketball in that recruiting, and so here's Justin and Darrell and Andrew, all out on the basketball court, and they're pretty good. They're actually pretty good. Now they got a pretty good intramural team, I think.
Yeah, we won the championship.
Highlights, yeah. And you throw them and Cam and Josh in, all of a sudden we got a pretty good looking basketball team there. But the question I have for you is defensively, and a lot of people said, what happened in the fourth quarter. Give me your perspective and the team's perspective of things that we did and things that we could do differently and close out the game.
We just got to finish. We know what we had to do. We were getting third downs. We were forcing 3 and outs. We just got to finish like 3rd and 11 or a botched snap, but broken plays. Like that stuff can't happen. If there's a ball in the air, like you said, we got to attack it. We got to want to take turnovers and make more of the takeovers for the offense so they can get in a better position to score. And we could score too. So I mean, that's important for us. We got to get more takeovers for next week's game.
The last one I have then is going to Concordia, early noon game. What do we have to do defensively?
Like I said, turnovers, takeaways, do our job, and stay disciplined and communicate. That's basically what we got to do, and it should be good.
Okay. I've got just one last question. You blocked a punt last year. Tell me, what is the line of trying to go for a block punt and then trying to avoid a penalty of like running into the kicker and that sort of thing?
I just use effort, man. To be honest with you, if I feel like I could go, I should just go.
The hardest part about that is that if the technique is right, you won't hit the kicker.
Right.
But that's always good on theory, because if you get bumped a little bit along the way or something, it's not always a free run to it. So it is. A lot of it is just experience, and the more times you do it, the better you get at it. And he's one of the best sitting right here.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us here today, Andrew. We're going to take a break here on the Tom Sawyer Show, and when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about next week's game against Concordia St. Paul. It's right after this. The Tom Sawyer Show on HPC TV 25 is brought to you by Jefferson Pub Grill. Meet me at the levee for fabulous food and drinks at Jefferson Pub Grill. Come check out their great nightly specials and limited time offer menu. Jefferson Pub Grill.
This is HPC Job Finder. Masterson Staffing has immediate openings in Winona, Stockton, and Wabasha for first, second, and third shifts. Positions as sewing and mending techs, machine relief operators, and general production labor available. Pay up to $12.50 an hour. Paid weekly with benefits. Call 507-252-8481 for detail. Email your resume to rochester@mastersonstaffing.com. For a full description, go to jobs.hpci.com.
Join HPC Sports' Extra Point one-camera coverage of high school football and soccer throughout the fall, presented by Lewiston Auto. In addition to our Football Night Crew broadcasts, Extra Point will bring you 8 games from the gridiron and 9 games from the pitch. For the full slate of games, simply visit hpci.com/sports to find out when your team will be on the field. That's Extra Point coverage of HPC Sports presented by Lewiston Auto, all fall, only on TV 25.
We chose HPC because they're a local company. They have a big audience in Winona, which is the geographic group that we're looking for. Mel is very easy to work with. She's genuinely concerned about how our money is being spent, and she does everything she can to make sure we get the most for our money. She takes care of us. So whenever there's a problem, which is rarely, I know that I can go to her and she's going to take care of it.
To see how HPC Advertising can help your company, call Melanie at 507-474-5802.
Tune in for the Sports Buzz every Tuesday at 5:30 as a panel of local sports journalists tackle the hottest topics on everything from local high school and collegiate sports to regional discussion about the Twins, Brewers, Vikings, and Packers. With the Power Play Fantasy Football Challenge to the Rant of the Week and NFL Pick'em, the Sports Buzz is fast-paced and sure to entertain. That's new episodes of the Sports Buzz every Tuesday at 5:30 with replays only on HPC TV 25. And welcome back to the Tom Sawyer Show here on TV 25. Concordia St. Paul, your next opponent.
Yep.
I know they've given you some problems over the years, but they're having kind of a down year this year. How do you feel you match up against them this
I
week?
think we match up very well, Justin. We really do. They had some very strong defensive kids. They still have a couple, and they're still very good in some positions. They're struggling to find their identity right now as well. We beat Bemidji. Bemidji goes and beats them, I don't know, it's 47 to something, 7. And so that was unusual for Concordia. So I think they, when they got a quarterback hurt, their backup kid from Lake City's back in, that he played against us last year and actually had a good game. So we got to pay attention to him. They still have a really good receiving core. Running back runs hard. So offensively, they still can be explosive, even though they didn't. Bemidji kind of blitzed them up a little bit, and we'll see. But I think for us, for offensively, it's really about execution. We got to catch a football and execute and block our tail off. And those 3 things sound pretty elementary, but as I talked to the team the other day, fundamental football will win us any game. And we have got to have that this week. We have to be passionate about it and have to be willing to go play hard.
Well, Concordia gave up 517 yards in that loss this week, so that should be good for you on offense. But on defense, it seems to be kind of a bounce-back game for your defense as well, because they only had 107 yards in offense last week.
Yeah, they only had 5 first downs, in that whole game. But that's not normal. So we got to kind of look at the averages and normal overall. But we feel we can match up very well with them. And defensively, for us, a bounce-back game for us. We've been playing pretty good defense. We were the 4th-ranked defense in the league coming into last week's game, and we give up 200 yards in the 4th quarter, which is unlike us. So kind of unlike for them to only have 5 first downs, unlike us to give up so much in the 4th. So something's got to give, and we hope that our preparation makes the difference.
One more thing about them that I saw in Bemidji, they had 8 penalties, 93 yards. Is that kind of the way that they've been playing, just kind of making some mental mistakes?
Yeah, they've always been that way, and it's something we're trying to get away from. And when we have those days with 8 or 9 penalties, the same thing happens. It really comes down to, and Andrew hit it best, it's discipline, it's communication, and do things right. And the more we can do that, and our kids need to understand that more and more, they see that the success from that, it's kind of the process over the outcome, but the success from that hard work will pay off, and we got to get them to understand that.
All right, if you want to find out more about the Tom Sawyer program and the Winona State program, you can go to the luncheons, which are held every Thursday. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's been great at the Riverport. The meals are great. It's $9. Come out there. We meet kids like this. We have some fun with our players and talk about the game, the homecoming festivities, and all those. And then we'll talk about the trip up to Concordia St. Paul. So it's a lot of fun Thursdays at Riverport.
Do you know who the guests are going to be on Thursday?
Paul Preston is one for sure because he couldn't go last week, and I'm trying to think. I'm not sure. I can't remember who the defensive guy is.
All right, and you don't have to buy tickets or anything before. You can just go right to the door,
just come right out, 9 o'clock or $9, pay at the door, and come on in and enjoy the time.
All right, well, thank you for joining us this week, Tom, and hopefully we'll talk about a win next week.
Sounds good, thanks.
All right, thank you for joining us here on the Tom Sawyer Show. We'll see you next week here on TV 25.